It's the Saturday the 9th of April and I'm going to interview Lady Phyll for A.Z now. Really excited. Firstly, I just want to know a little bit about yourself.
I'm Lady Phyll, and just to be clear, the title Lady doesn't come from any sort of title given by the Queen. I run an organisation called UK Black Pride. I'm one of the board of trustees for Stonewall, and I also work for the largest civil service trade union. I'm the mother to a wonderful young lady called Curry. Thank you very much. I know, I tell her she's going to grow up just to be just like me, and she kind of grits her teeth at that moment. But yeah, I'm just sort of me. I do lots of things, put my hands into lots of stuff, but I just love working and meeting new people.
And can you tell me more sort of about your day job role?
Okay, so my day job, my title is Head of Political Campaigns and Equality. So I run a team that are based all over the country. They are regional campaigns officers which look at doing a lot of lobbying on the ground. But first I should just say that the organisation I work for, company, is PCS, which is Public and Commercial Services Union. And our members are primarily work for HMRC, Department of Works and Pensions, and Ministry of Justice. So what we campaign on and organise about is things like terms and conditions, discrimination at work, unfair dismissal. So it's all about employment rights and trade union rights. And what my role entails is looking at the political campaign. So how do we get the most leverage from our parliamentarians? So I work with people like Jeremy Corbyn, John McDonnell, even members of the SNP, Caroline Lucas, and other Labour frontbench MPs, to ensure that they know that our members are going through a number of issues and they need to have our members' voices heard in Parliament. So it's about writing briefs for them, ensuring that they've been kept abreast of all the issues that face the trade union movement, i.e. PCS at that present time, and what can they do to add pressure on the current government, which is the Tories, Conservatives, who are setting out currently to destroy and dismantle a lot of the rights that we've gained over the years.
Sort of, what's your typical day?
Oh, I don't know if I have a typical day, but it will consist of getting up from, I don't know, about 5:15. I've now got into this regime of doing a bit of a step twister, trying to get that waistline back. And I could be at Parliament, meeting a cross-parliamentarian group for PCS, or I'll be meeting with my own team to figure out what's coming up in Parliament, looking at equality. I run 4 equality seminars, BME Black, LGBT, Women's, and young members. Sorry, it's 5. So there's a number of seminars that we have, which is all education based, and we try to link in what campaigns we've got and how we organise and also recruit in trade union. And then I think it sort of ends on ensuring that I'm writing papers for our National Executive Committee so that they can look at how and what we take forward next as a priority for the members. We are very much a lay-led union, and it's all about the democracy.
Okay, and how did you come to Black Pride? Like, what was the reason that you started?
So Black Pride, well, I was running with my then partner an organisation called Block. Now, Block stands for Black Lesbians in the UK, and it started online, and we were having a lot of women who were very vocal, and we took them to Southend as a day trip. And that trip to Southend felt very much like the space is theirs. Well, it was theirs. We were there playing volleyball. A woman called Angie Legs came along and brought her jerk pan out. We had somebody who brought their turntables and the music out there. We had Wayne, a guy who donated £450 to us so we can get a little marquee, and we just placed it all there. And we were in a space where we created it. It was ours. It was our own. And music playing, jerking. It was
great.
Yeah, it was good. And from that, I think we were talking about, this is brilliant, this feels like the start of something. Myself, my then partner, and a woman called Nikita, we were walking back to the toilets in Southend, and we kind of turned around to each other and said, God, where does this go to next? And I said, doesn't it feel like a Black Pride? And that was it. And it started, and it just grew and grew and grew. And we went back to Southend the next year. But when we decided to call it a Black Pride, that's when we realised how difficult and challenging it would all be, because people in the wider mainstream community hated the fact that Black people were wanting to create a space of their own, get some autonomy and have some power in dictating what should be said about them and what stories should be heard.
So what do you think the problem that sort of the mainstream society have with Black Pride is, in a nutshell?
Well, you know, I'm not sure that they see it as a problem, but I think it's this inherent, incessant issue of racism and privilege and power. The moment anybody feels that their status or what they do may be threatened by them having to share power, they instantly go on the attack. They don't know this yet, but some people need to really check their privilege and where it comes from. For years and years, hundreds and thousands of years, Black people have been the lowest of the lowest. We have been through colonialism, we've been through enslavement, we've been slaves, we've only in 1957 in America, you know, there were integrated schools. So when you think 1957, and in this day and age when it's 2016, it's not overnight that the rights that we have, you'll start to see them take effect. Don't get me wrong, we've got some brilliant allies in the community, but I think that the issue of power and privilege is not highlighted in a way that will make people understand that having a Black Pride doesn't take anything away from the wider mainstream community. It just means that we are doing something extra. And I've always said, in an ideal world, we wouldn't need a Black Pride and we wouldn't need a Pride, but we're not in an ideal world, so we need a Pride, and we certainly need a Black Pride to educate and highlight the issues of racism.
I mean, I think in society now, having a Black Pride adds something. It doesn't take away at all. So I'm happy.
I couldn't agree with you more, Remy. I really couldn't agree with you more. But how do we get that message across? And I think hopefully A.Z Mag will be doing some absolutely amazing stuff to ensure that those stories are heard, and to ensure that, you know, the whole visibility and the difference and the cultural differences, the richness of how we come as people and the various different intersections of who we are displayed and are relevant and are present.
Definitely. Okay, and can you tell us the MBE story?
Oh my God. Okay. I was contacted by the Cabinet Office, as you do when you've been nominated and someone's put your name forward.
Do you know who it was that nominated?
They're not allowed to tell you. And I believe that it was more than one person.
Okay.
And it's great. You know, I was overly excited at the fact that, you know, the work that I have done has been acknowledged and recognised. So when I received that email and sort of the phone calls and they kept on pressuring, so have you got an answer? I went away, and for a snippet of a millisecond of a second, I thought about my mum, who would love to be in the palace with matching bags, shoes and hats, and the big Ghana cloth, and making sure she's representing. But I said no. And I said no based on a number of reasons. One, I'm not for the establishment. I don't believe in any system which appears oppressive, or a monarchy that has a power and a privilege over many. I also am very clear that my no was about the Commonwealth countries, one of which I'm from, Ghana, that still carries the many sodomy laws that were left when imperialists entered into those countries, took away our land, took away our jewels, took away our homes, and robbed us of our languages and robbed us of our names, colonialised places and enslaved many. And there has never ever been an apology for that massive human atrocity. I couldn't possibly say yes. And anything that attaches its name and an award system which is not transparent in my eyes to the word empire is not fit for purpose. Not for me, not now, and not ever. One, we do need an apology for slavery. We need to be recognised for why black communities, BME communities, BAME communities may be so far back in how they've progressed. And this is because of a direct result of colonialism. We're still trying to catch up and have never had that power and privilege. So I can't say yes to something which is not about me or my people.
Okay. And what's been the feedback since you said no? Because I know the Independent did a feature on it. My mum told me, she's like, Lady Phyll said no to an MBE, and I was like, I know, but it's kind of very much gone over maybe what most people feel as is their news. I mean, my mum doesn't necessarily tell me about LGBT news, but that was something that she very much called me and told me about. So what's been the feedback?
Do you know, that's just made me feel quite emotional that, you know, your mum's told you about that. The feedback in the beginning was quite mixed. Sorry, I feel that's, you tell your mum, I'm honoured.
Thank you.
The feedback was quite difficult to stomach, some of it. I told my mum, we've got an Apokujima WhatsApp family group.
I love it.
And yeah, it's the only way we're sort of going to keep in contact. And, you know, I sent them the whole message and I had to say the reason why I said no. So, yes, I'm out and have been out for, you know, well over 19 years. But the thought of saying because of LGBT sodomy laws in a WhatsApp message to my family, it was like, it filled me with dread. My mum is really, really homophobic, you know, it's so bad. She was the first one to come back on that WhatsApp message and say, you know, I didn't get to dress up, but I'm so proud of you. Oh my gosh, I cried for about, you know, a good 5-10 minutes uncontrollably. And then I think the feedback from the rest of news, so from Diva magazine to the Morning Star, the Independent, Lizzie or Lizzie, that some of the comments there were, why don't you F off and go back to Uganda? And clearly I'm not from Uganda, I'm from Ghana. You should have taken the MBE and sold it to deal with your weight problem. You need to get lost out of the country and go and live under Mugabe's regime. Some of that stuff clearly showed me that I made the right decision. Not that I was ever questioning or doubting my decision, but it showed me that there was so much ignorance out there about not accepting something that the Queen has offered. As a trade unionist, it goes against my core values. As a black working class woman, it goes against my core values. I take nothing away from anybody who has accepted an MBE, an OBE, a CBE, but it's just not for me. I can work from outside to still make changes. You know, and if you look at Idris Elba, he accepted his, and well done to him. A mentor of mine, Doreen Lawrence, she accepted hers and is a baroness. So Ian McKellen accepted, but they are all doing great things to work from within outwardly. But it doesn't mean that I have to do the same thing.